one of the reasons that the Vidyara Dorji Dradal, as he's referred to within the Shambhala context, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, felt the need to bring up these teachings was just basically the dilemma that we're in society, where we have such things as widespread poverty, the threat of nuclear war, political and social chaos, psychological upheavals. These are some of the terms he uses. And generally now we look at our world now, this saturation of media, the speed, this rampant consumerism that we're faced with. Everything is an advertising. Everything has a logo on it. We're running around chasing after the Joneses and chasing after experience, saturating our mind, trying to find pleasure, grasping at things, thinking that this is going to somehow answer some kind of our higher needs, or we're going to fulfill and make ourselves happier. And what we're doing is churning and churning up these situations and making ourselves crazier and crazier, pumped up with drugs, and it's just we're in dark times from that perspective. It's interesting because we also are in a golden age at the same time. It's very paradoxical because we also have access to many great teachings. We can shoot clear across the globe physically and even in a faster way through such things as video conferencing, you name it. I mean, these are the things that you look at the Jetsons when they have their little video telephone. I mean, we're in a powerful technological time. And at the same time, there's people starving that don't even have the basic resources. And where you see things as privatization of water, the current dilemma of what's happening with our trash. I mean, what are we going to do with all this stuff, and what's happening to the environment? So we live in a very charged and very deep time. The environment has definitely made its way to the front page, and we're in a pitched battle with corporations, trying to understand where they fit in, and is government going to ultimately take us out of these, answer these challenges, and such things as what you're seeing with what so-called terrorism, the suicide bomber, and these people who are so angry for whatever reasons, justified or who feel the need to destroy themselves. I mean, just the basis of one being willing to be suicidal in their approach, in their kamikaze type way, is indicative of what we're playing with. And when you have a superpower that's ready to go across the globe and exert their will, it speaks for itself. And I certainly I'm not representing the Shambhala view. I'm more so speaking towards my own personal views when I talk about how I feel and what I'm seeing in the current situation, and the deep need for us to maintain contact with our basic humanness and wisdom, and why these ancient teachings are so present, so alive, and have been orally transmitted through so many years, and are contacted and part of our basic makeup. We've evolved as a species into these thinking beings, and it's important for us to maintain contact with this humanness. And this is why I feel strongly about the rightness of adopting this approach, and why the Shambhala teachings have meant so much to me as an individual, and giving me a vehicle of understanding. The basis, as I alluded to earlier, was basic meditation practice, sitting meditation practice, which I will go into in the next session briefly. I wanted this to be more of a core introduction of what the teachings are and what they have available, and who brought them here and why they're here, and how accessible they are. There's plenty of urban centers all over the world, for that matter, many in the United States urban areas. So feel free to check them out. They're very open to people coming through the door, and there's no reason to be afraid. I mean, any questions you have, anything that needs to be answered, you'll find that there, especially if you follow your heart. Now, some of the basic core ideas here is that, like when I was saying earlier about not trying to convert you into another system, that's an important thing to understand when I tell you this. When Trungpa developed this, he had a warrior cultures in mind. Felt the honor of these cultures, and that there's a certain amount of dignity, and I think that comes in direct contact with the fact that, you know, as a warrior, you're directly enmeshed in this death cycle of killing and part of the culture, and that development of honor became so important because you're in such direct contact with the seamier and more we might call the negative or dark aspects of living, which is taking human life. And so out of these cultures, what happened was the sense of warriorship, was this sense of dignity and holding oneself and not getting consumed by aggression and anger and hatred, but more being in contact with the basic goodness of being alive. Now, so when we talk about warriorship per se, he used the example of the Native American Indians of North America and South America had warrior cultures. Also used the example of samurai culture in Japan and China, aspects of Chinese culture, and used Western examples of King David of the Bible and also King Arthur and his court, where I think you get the term of the concept of Shambhala comes out, which is basically the Western version of Shambhala. What we're talking about when we talk about Shambhala is apart from the legendary aspects of it, or what would be seen as the mythical aspects of it, as opposed to maybe the real, that there really is an existing place. I mean, that's a debate for another place or for someone else. What we're really trying to understand and get to, or what's the usable, actual, doable quality of the teachings and why they're so important, is more how it manifests in our life as individuals, and what it means in the direct context of, okay, this is your life, what are you going to do with it, what does it mean to you? And in that way, that's where I feel, and it's brought out in the book, Shambhala, Sacred Path of the Warrior, that is a direct way. And that's kind of a core difference that you'll find with some of the other religions, and what you'll see in a more Buddhist approach, is that looking at not necessarily getting so caught up in origins of like, where did I come from, you know, is it creationism, Big Bang, and the things that get tossed around there, and all the debates and arguments that are created outside of that. No more sense of looking at, okay, this is my life, I've attained this precious human birth, I have my family, I have my job, or maybe I don't have a job, maybe I've lost my family, whatever my current situation is, I have this body, 2 arms, 2 eyes, nose, you know, or maybe I'm missing some of this. Whatever your personal situation is, what are you going to do with that life, and how are you going to work with it? And the Shambhala teachings tell us that we can uplift ourselves, that we can hold ourselves with good head and shoulders, that we can feel good about who we are and what we are, that we can look deeply into ourselves and not run away, really just be able to sit with ourselves. And that's where meditation comes into play. It's that basic tool in that field training kit that enables us to take that look and to see directly, perceive us as people, you know, what it means to be a human being. And that's at the core of it.